Hello and welcome to everybody on Cloud Fitness. So in today's video, we are going to see how we can create a snapshot lakehouse monitoring using the API. So basically we have discussed about lakehouse monitoring well in detail in the previous video. So I do recommend watching that video first before going ahead with this video, because that is when you are going to have a very clear understanding of lakehouse monitoring end to end. So snapshot is one of the profile types of lakehouse monitoring that we discussed, and this is in this video we are going to see how to do that, how to create a snapshot lakehouse monitoring using the API. Now you can do it using the UI as well, Databricks UI. But in this video, we are going to select the API method, because in any organization you might not want to do it through the UI. You will always go ahead and use the API for it. So let's move ahead. But before moving ahead, I do recommend all of you guys to connect with me on LinkedIn and Instagram, and I'm going to leave the link in the description box. So let's move ahead and I'll go to the Databricks workspace. So you can see the catalog explorer over here. I'll just do a refresh and you can see in the main catalog, in the default schema, I have my wine table over here. So this is the wine table that I have. And if I look at the sample data, this is how the sample data looks like: fixed acidity, volatile acidity, citric acid, like the details of the wine and the type of the wine, red wine, white wine. So all that detail is over here. We are going to use this type column as well. Now I'm going to create Lakehouse monitoring dashboard on top of it. Now look at the top over here: overview, sample data, details, permission, history, lineage, insights, and quality. Right? You don't have any dashboard or any metrics option over here. But as we create, you will see how does this change. So let me go to the Lakehouse monitoring API notebook over here, which we are going to run step by step, and we are going to see the progress as well. So I have already started my cluster. I do recommend all of you guys to use the latest DBR runtime. So as we go ahead, we already know that Lakehouse monitoring, we need to have Unity catalog enabled always. So in the first go, what we are going to do is I am going to install Lakehouse monitoring client wheel. So you need to install this Lakehouse monitoring client wheel. In case you do not have it, you can get it from the Databricks documentation, or also I'm going to leave the link in the description box. This wheel file, let me just run this command. So this wheel file will have all the necessary libraries and packages which is used for the Lakehouse monitoring. So we will just wait for its installation, and you can see that it has started the installation. And after the installation, you have to restart the Python. And if you can also see over here collecting Databricks Lakehouse monitoring 0.4.14, and you can also see it has installed a lot of packages related to your Lakehouse monitoring, Databricks Lakehouse monitoring. So let me restart my Python over here. And after that, now in throughout, I am going to use a catalog and a schema, which is coming from the Unity catalog. In case you guys have not watched my UC videos, I do recommend watching my UC videos, so in order to understand about the Unity catalog. So if you see, my catalog name is main, my schema is default. This is what my catalog name is, and this is what my schema is. Let me just simply run this. So the moment I run this, this catalog and schema will be used. This username and username prefix you can simply ignore for now. This does not has any major effect on the code part. Here I'm just trying to add some prefixes to the table name. So if you see, I have created a unique suffix using my username, and I'm creating a table and a baseline table. So if you see what is happening over here, right? I have I am creating the name for my baseline table. So I'm saying this is my catalog, this is my schema, and this is my prefix wine baseline, and then I'm giving my suffix to the baseline table. So basically here I am creating a baseline table for my wine table. Okay, I'm now with this particular piece of code, you will be able to create the wine table, you will be able to create the baseline table as well. So let me simply run this. And first of all, let me drop all the tables that are present. So let me just simply drop all the tables that are present over here. So here till now what I have done, I have installed Databricks Lakehouse Monitoring, and after that I have given the name for my table name and my baseline table. I've just given the names, right? You can give it, you can hard code it as well, you can parameterize it as well, and then I have dropped all the tables. So let me simply refresh it and again go to the catalog over here, go to the main and go to the default, and let me see, do I have this table name? No, I do not have these two table names, so that's why it did not get dropped. I do not have any wine baseline table. Wine baseline do I have? No, I don't have. And then do I have this wine table with unique suffix? I showed you I had one and that is also deleted. So right now I'm starting afresh. I do not have any table. I will create a wine table and then we will enable Lakehouse monitoring on top of it. So now all my tables are dropped. Now let's start the work over here. So what I'm trying to do, I'm importing pandas and then I'm trying to use pandas read CSV method to load wine data, white wine and the red wine data into separate data frames, and let me simply run this. So here I am trying to define my data over here. I'm trying to read white wine and the red wine data set, and then I'm combining these two data sets and I'm creating data PDF, right? I'm creating my this data frame over here by combining the white wine and the red wine data set using the Databricks open source data sets. After that, what I'm trying to create a from pandas data frame, I'm trying to create my Spark data frame, and then I'm trying to create a baseline data frame and a primary data frame. So right now I do not have any primary table, I do not have any baseline table. So here what I've done, I splitted the data between two data frames, baseline and the primary data frame, with the weight of 25% and 75%. Now 25% of the data will move to the baseline data frame, 75% of the data will move to the primary data frame. Now what will happen, two data frames are created. So if you want to see how the baseline data frames looks like, I'm running this baseline data frame dot display. Now you can see this is your baseline data frame. 25% of the data has come over here, and then I'm trying to run this, which is going to write your baseline data frame as a delta table into the catalog and the schema and save as baseline table. Now this baseline table is the name of the table which we have defined at the top. So now if I go to Catalog Explorer and if I try to refresh, basically we will have a table created in this main default, which is nothing but which is my baseline table. Let's refresh it and let's wait for this to complete, and let's refresh it again, and you can see that now you have a baseline table. So wine baseline Bhavna Bedi 15_BH. So this is the baseline table that got created. After baseline table, let me create my main table as well. So right, if you see this primary DF, this has 75% of the data and the save as table name. So this is the primary table that got created. Now you can see this is the primary table. So now I have a primary table that will be updated, and then we have a baseline table which has the right data set against which we are always going to compare our primary table. Now once we have this, now we want to create the monitor. Right now, to create the monitor, I need to install Jinja 2. So let me just simply run this command, pip install Jinja 2. Now you can see that the Jinja 2 is installed, and then I have already installed Databricks Lakehouse Monitoring right at the top. Now from that I'm importing Databricks.Lakehouse Monitoring as LM, and then slicing expression. So you guys have seen that in the previous video I have explained that for the Lakehouse monitoring we can slice the data to view it. So if I say I want to view the data only for product A, for a particular product type, I want to slice the data. So that slicing can be done over here. So where we are using the wine type, like wine type column to do the slicing. So let me just simply run it. So using this particular column, we will be able to slice and view the data. Now, if you need any help, right, regarding creating the Lakehouse monitor, you can simply put this command help lm.create monitor. LM is nothing but what we have imported at the top, right? lm.create monitor. If you run this, you will see the whole set of documentation over here, using which you can understand if you want to understand anything about the Lakehouse monitoring over here. Now to create the monitor, you can see what I'm doing. I'm using lm.create monitor API, lm.createMonitor API profile type. Now we have already discussed in the previous video that we have different profile types, right? We have time series profile, then we have snapshot, and we have inference. So in this case we are using snapshot, so that's why it is mentioned over here lm.snapshot. This is the table name. On which table do I want to create the monitor? This is my main table, right? So that's why I mentioned here my table name, which is the parameter that we gave at the top. Then the slicing expression. Now, on what column you want to slice the data and view it. Then the baseline table. Do you have a baseline table? Because in case of snapshot, you will have a baseline table. Now, if you have a baseline table, which we have already created at the top, you can define your baseline table. And then the output schema name. Now, because whenever you create the monitor, you need to define the output schema name where your drift and the profile tables will get created. In the previous video, you have seen that how the profile and the drift table got created, right? So it has to be created within a specific schema, and here you define the schema name. So let me simply run this cell as well, right? Now you can see creating monitor. It has created the monitor for this, right? And it has created the complete monitor for my baseline table on my main table. Using my baseline table, it has used my baseline table as well. So right now you guys can see that it says change data feed is not enabled for this table. For the better metrics performance, it is recommended that the change data feed is enabled for this table, which is true. Because change data feed, if you have not watched my video on change data feed, I do recommend watching it. So change data feed helps you to track what changes have happened on each table. So if you have a table, what change has happened on that table? You keep it and you store it. So by default, Databricks has this functionality that if you enable change data feed on a table, what has changed from the previous version to to the current version, it is only going to keep that change in the specific folder, so that you don't need to scan through everything and understand what has changed, right? So that is what change data feed is. If change data feed is already enabled on your table name, right, on your main table, then in that case it will be little better for the monitor performance, because the dashboard will refresh faster, your monitor will work faster, because it does not need to scan everything, it will just go and see what has changed. And then let's check the monitor, because monitor needs to be active, so that is why we are trying to import time, and we are just waiting for the monitor to be fully created over here. Now you have created the monitor, okay, but for the monitor is created, but now monitor has to be triggered. You have to trigger the monitor that, hey, go and check the metrics. You know, how my table is different from how my main table is different from my baseline table, how different it is, and how the current data of my main table is different from my baseline table. Then go and check it. Now for that, you need to, first of all, the monitor is created. Now you want to trigger that monitor. Now to trigger that monitor, here is the command. Let me just run it first because it will take some time. So you can see it will check the refresh, what has changed on the table. If nothing has changed on the table, it will take the entire table itself, and then it is going to see, it will take some time, hence I will do a pause in between because it takes a little bit of time to do that. If change data feed is enabled on it, then it will not take that much time, but just because on my table change data feed has not been enabled yet, so that's why it will take, you know, quite some time, maybe 5 to 7 minutes at least. So this is going to create your drift metrics, it is going to create your profile metrics, and it is going to check, it is going to create the profile metrics table first, which will tell you what is the profile, what is the mean, standard deviation, all the details, the number of nulls in your main table, and what are the same metrics in your baseline table. Now once that is done, it is going to create a drift metrics table, which is going to have the comparison stored, right? How the table has changed over a period of time from your baseline table. Now once that is done, what it will do, it will automatically have a dashboard in place where all those metrics will be shown to you. You can visualize it, right? So I'll just pause for some time because it might take some time over here. So now guys, you can see as this is running, let me go over here. As this is running, this is still running, it's been 4 minutes already. Let me go over here. You can see that the drift metrics and profile metrics is being created, right? While it is being created, let's click on the sample data. I will show you, we will go through this till the time it is getting created fully. This is the profile metrics, and you can see over here window. Window is the time period when this profile metrics was calculated. Log type input, right? And then granularity exact. Exact means whenever you have snapshot, right? Whenever you have a baseline table, that is exact granularity, because you're not calculating it on a time. You already have a value and you're calculating the drift based on the exact value, right? So that's why the granularity is exact. Slice key is basically the column which is the wine type on which you want to view the data, right? And then you can see after that you have the column names. Let me you will also have something called as table over here. You can see, oh, let me just do this. Yeah, you can see this table. So what does this table mean? Table means that this value, whatever you are seeing, the first 6 columns, they are calculated for a table. The count of slice type key, slice key as type red with the slice value as true whenever the type is red. In that case, the count is 406. Whenever type is red and the slice value is false, right? Then in that case, the count is 1231. Data type column null. So since it's the matrix is calculated on a table level, these two values are null. Similarly, if you look at the other columns, right? Alcohol, chlorides. So you can see the slice value is true and false for each. True and false means when the type is red and when the type is not red. So when it is not red, the slice value will be false. When it is red, the slice value will be true. And then the data types and the nulls will be for the column metrics, and similarly the average, quantiles, minimum, maximum number of zeros. So the first 6 you can see they are null because these are not calculated at the table level, right? So right now you can see this is how your profile metrics is created. Right now, percentile, distinct, so all this you can actually see. And you can also see log type, right? What does this log type means? Now I already told you this profile metrics will have statistics of your main table as well as your baseline table, and drift is going to compare it. So your profile metrics has baseline table, which is your baseline table. This is the metrics of your baseline table, and then the input table, the metrics of your input table. Now your baseline table does not have any time, right? So that's why there is no window over here, but your input table has a time. So that's why it is calculated based on time over here. So the metrics of both your baseline as well as input tables are created over here. Now if you go to the drift metrics, now drift metrics is going to show you what has changed, right? So it is going to show you the difference basically. Now for this particular time window, granularity is exact. As I already told you, for snapshot the granularity will be exact. Slice key as red, for this particular column name. Drift type, drift type is the baseline, because right now we are calculating it from the baseline table, right? Count of delta, what is the the difference, what is the average delta, percentage of null. So everything is a delta dot underscore delta over here. So that is how the difference is calculated over here based on the time. Now this chi-squared test, these are all for the machine learning model, so you can choose not to use it in your dashboard as well. So now you can see the drift and the profile metrics is created already. But I think okay, this has taken 5 minutes and it is already running. Now this has already run as well, so let me just refresh this at the same time. Okay, so now you guys can see. Now to get the monitor, right? Now to get the monitor, what this get monitor command will do after running this? This is going to give you the dashboard. This is going to give you a dashboard where you can visualize these metrics. So I'll click on this dashboard link over here, and you will be able to see that a dashboard is created based on all of these values that we have gone through. So now you can see the slice value, right? The slice value we have already seen that uh, okay, it is still refreshing, but we have given here the wine type, right? Red wine and all. Time range, at what time range you actually want to at what time range you want to uh, check this data, check this drift. So you can see the row count, this is exact dashboard, right? So if you want to refresh it, you can simply click on refresh. It will check if there is any change in the data, right, that has come. So the data integrity checks that we discussed, right? The metrics, count, distinct, min, max, average, everything, all of these are over here. You can see the drift with respect for a particular column, what kind of metrics is there, what that you want to compare to the baseline. So for example, for this column, with respect to the baseline, you want to compare anything, right? You can define a custom metrics over here, and you can check how a particular metrics has changed. So like this, on this dashboard, you can go ahead and check a lot of different things. Right now, if you look at this, if I go to these three dots and I click on view query, right, it will lead me to a page where it is trying to query the tables. It is trying to query the profile metrics table, right? So you can go ahead, change the query, and in the same way, you can change the dashboard as well. And you can also see it has also given you slice value inspection windows and whatnot, right? So now, apart from that, let me go back to the catalog. Over here, let me just refresh the catalog as well. And I'm here in the main, and I'm in the default. This is my main table, and this is my sample data, and it's all loaded right now. And if I go to quality over here, you can see the moment I go to quality now, okay, you can click on view dashboard over here. So this is the UI part of it. You can do all of this, whatever I have shown through the code, you can do it through the UI as well. Now if I click on view dashboard, it is again going to lead you to the same dashboard, okay, the one which we have seen right now, using the API. Now similarly, if you want to edit monitor configuration, you can do that, right? And similarly, you can also schedule the refresh. You have an option to schedule the refresh. You can delete the monitor from here, but we will see all of this through the code itself. So now if you see, in case you want to, if there is any update, if you let's say I want to update the table with, say, set alcohol as null where alcohol is less than 9. So what I'm doing, I'm updating my table over here. So likewise, whenever you have your data pipeline, it is going to update your it is going to update your main table, right, with some data. You will have a pipeline running which is updating your main table. And then again, if I run this, what it is going to do, it is going to refresh my lakehouse monitor automatically. It is going to refresh my lakehouse monitor, and then again I can click on the get monitor, and I can see my refreshed dashboard as well. You can delete the monitor using lm.delete monitor for a particular table, that whatever table you want to delete your monitor for. Now let's see how you can automatically schedule the refresh. So if you click on this edit monitor configuration, so you already have captured the snapshot profile. If you go to the advanced option, you have an option of schedule, which is manual right now, notification, and the metrics schema, right? So and there is an asset directory also, which I'll go through. So now you guys can see, if I go to the advanced option, right now it's refreshed manually. You can refresh it on schedule. So you can say every day 12 o'clock I want to schedule a refresh. So let's say your data pipeline is running every day at 2 p.m. UTC, right? Now in that case, you might want to schedule your refresh at 3 p.m. UTC. So like that, you can schedule the refresh, and you can send the email notifications as well. Right over here, you can add the email notifications as well. Similarly, metrics table schema. So right now you have seen that the metrics table schema is the same schema, right? We have put it in the code as well. So if you want to change it, you can change it over here. Then you have asset directory. So I showed you that with respect to the dashboard, there is always set of queries that are there, and those queries are stored under a specific directory. So if I queries and the dashboard related things. So if you see users Bhavna Bedi 15 at the rate Gmail. So let me go to the users over here. Okay. And then 15 at the rate gmail.com, and you can see the Databricks Lakehouse monitoring. It is created by default. I have not created it. So now if I click on it, you can see by default it has created this folder, and inside this folder it is storing the configuration, the queries that are used to create the dashboard. All of this are stored over here. You can see the whole dashboard is also stored over here. So this is what this option of asset directory mean over here. So, and you can, if you want to add more slicing, you can add as many slicing as you want. If you want to add a custom metrics, we will see this option later on. So if I click on this add metrics, I can define my own metrics. So let's say you can see the example here itself, right? The moment I clicked on it, what is the name of the metrics? You can give any name for your metric, the type of the metrics, the input columns that will be used to calculate that metrics, and you can see average log of the input column. Like you are calculating the log of the input column and then you are calculating the average, right? So this might be a metric that might be useful for you. So similarly, you can create as many metrics as you want. So right now I'll just cancel it. So this is exactly how it works. The lakehouse monitoring works, and especially the snapshot version. You can try it on your own tables as well in your own organizations. I hope you like this particular video. Do remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel because I feel I'm giving you a very good content and you're making, use of your time. Like whatever time you spend on YouTube or any social media platform, make sure that it is utilized in the positive direction always, because there's so much of content out there, sufficient enough to, just not for you to not make use of your time at all, right? So always try to focus on the content which is adding value to your goals, and which is enhancing your skills, because that is what is going to, in the long run, or even in the short run, because that is what is going to benefit you the most. So thank you so much for being till here. Do remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.